singer, a comedian, an actor, kind of like transcends the phrase triple threat to become the supreme threat of all time. The spectacular, amazing, near and dear to all of our hearts, Vicki Lawrence. Stairs, having just had foot surgery.
Yeah.
Whipping up, I just gave away your secret.
God, it's terrible.
So, we are going to start off. I have a couple of questions to start things off with, but if any of you have questions, you can come up to this microphone right here, get in line, and we'll get through as many of them as we possibly can, I promise you. I want to start at sort of the beginning, because I think you're a born performer. But the way that you ended up on the Carol Burnett Show is a wild story to me. It's quite unique. It's not something that people can replicate. Will you tell us how that happened?
Well, I was 17 years old, my senior year in high school, and I entered a little contest called Miss Fireball in my hometown of Inglewood, California. And it was the fireman's ball, and they wanted some girls to entertain them, so they said, we'll call it a contest, and we'll get a bunch of bimbos to come out. There were 8 of us, and the local newspaper gal did a big article, and she said that I looked like a young Carol Burnett. So my mom said, I think you should write her a fan letter. I was a big fan letter writer when I was a kid. It was all the cute guys who were on TV. Oh, you guys can probably help me jog my memory. Johnny Crawford, Paul Peterson, Fabian, let's see who else? All the young cute guys. Beach Boys, which we lived really near. I actually saw them on the street once. I nearly lost it. Anyway, so I wrote Carol a letter. I told her I looked like her. I told her I would love to meet her someday. I didn't really ask for anything. I mailed it off to, I think I mailed it to Carol Burnett Hollywood, or something stupid like that. And it actually managed to land on her desk before that contest. So she took my dad's name out of the newspaper. She looked us up in the phone book, which you can no longer do. And she called me after school. She said, I want to come and see the contest. She said, I'm very pregnant. Don't tell anyone. Get the 2 seats way in the back. I'm going to sneak in and sneak out. And then I'll call you in a couple of weeks and we'll discuss your career. Sweetie. And
just the way everybody rises to the top.
She watched the contest. I won the contest. There were a bunch of stupid pictures of us with the mayor and the fire chief and all that stuff. And she disappeared, and I didn't hear from her. January, she was very pregnant. In January, I came home from school. My mom said they announced on the radio that Carol had a baby, and she's at St. John's. So I was on my way to a recording session with the Young Americans, which is a group I sang with when I was young. And I said to my rideshare, I said, I want to go by the hospital and say hi to her, because I had not heard anything. And he said, you'll never get in to see Carol Burnett. I said, well, I know her married name now, so I'm going to try. So I went into the hospital. I looked up the maternity ward. I went up to the floor. There were 2 nurses sitting behind the nurses' station doing nothing. It was very quiet. And I said, I'm here to see Mrs. Hamilton. And they said to me, you must be her sister, Chrissy. I said, wait till you see her. Wait till you see the baby. And they took me right in. Nowadays, I would be a stalker. Anyway, she said, I haven't forgotten you. As soon as I get my tummy back, we're going to give you a call, which they did. It was a couple months later. And I went down to CBS, met the head writer, and met her husband, who's going to be the executive producer. And they said, we would like you to audition to play her sister for this new show that we're doing.
You're like, I just snuck into the hospital as her sister. Is that not audition enough? I proved it.
If there were cell phones at the time, I could have done a video, yeah.
Amazing.
So, yeah, it would never happen today. None of that would happen. Now, I mean, seriously, you're not Carrie Underwood out of the box.
Right. Well,
Somebody's going to kick you off.
you were so young at that point. Did I read correctly that you were actually also going to UCLA for a couple of years while you were doing the show?
I started on her show at UCLA in St. Paul.
It's amazing. That's like a grueling schedule.
Well, my dad went to UCLA, so that was really important to him. So the deal was, I said, you may go as long as you're back in the studio by 11 a.m. So I took every class you could take in the dark. I had no college life to speak of. And I eventually, I did have to drop out. But you know what's really funny? UCLA is where Carol went for 2 years also.
Oh.
I just keep finding all these things out there. Her boyfriend in high school was Tommy, mine was Tommy.
You really are her. You're destined to be her.
It's very
Younger look-alike. I definitely am going to hop right to you, but I have one more question that I want to do before that, because it builds on it. Because you have also said, because you were, an infant when you were on that show, that was like going through the Harvard of comedy, and that, Carol and the other co-stars, which I can't even imagine being in that incredibly luminous cast, were teaching you all the time. What was that like? And what was like the moment where you realized, like, oh, I am both their student and their colleague?
Oh, I knew that pretty quickly because Harvey, I think was either training or killing. Because he said, forget stage right and stage left, you can't even find the ladies' room. So set about to train me. And he really was, Carol had a show to run, and she was in everything. So Harvey would take me aside and tell me who I was in the movie takeoffs and, work with me on props and accents and, Harvey was my mentor.
That's
definitely. And Lyle was brand new in the business as well. That was his first job.
Yeah.
And he was married to Miss St. Louis, and they moved out to Hollywood. He got the job on the Burnett Show, and we became very close friends because neither one of us knew what the hell we were doing. And he would take me home at lunchtime and share it with lunch for us as well.
You never know you didn't know what you were doing, which is the main
It was a little.
the instincts were always there. What is your question?
So I just have to say, my parents' absolute favorite skit is the infamous elephant story. So I have to ask, after watching that video countless times, everyone else is dying laughing. How the heck did you keep it together during that entire story without, you didn't crack a smile or anything? So I'm like,
Well, I'll tell you, Tim lived to terrorize everybody. And when he got written into the family sketches as Vicki Harper, Carol pulled us all aside and said, you know how much I love these characters. I do not want us breaking the fourth wall. I want us to have some discipline. And, of course, who's the first one that fell apart? And I'm like, you told us to be good. What the hell are you doing? She's like, wow. Anyway, we used to do 2 shows. We did an afternoon show in front of a live audience, and then we did an evening show in front of a different live audience. And in the middle, you had a little dinner break, you'd go get your makeup touched up, get something to eat, and you would get notes because they'd have a big production meeting. And then the director would come by your dressing room and give you any notes that he had. And it could be anything like, we've changed your mark in the finale, please go out and see it. We've written a new joke here, we're changing the running order. Anything. He knocked on my door that night, he said, I have only one note. The elephant story will be different, and good luck. So now by this time, this is the last season of the show. By this time, I'm married to my husband Al, who's the makeup man. So he's sitting there in front of me, he's reading a magazine. And I turned around and I said, how does he get away with it? And Al looked at me and he said, get him. And he flipped back into the magazine. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'll try to get him tonight. And so I knew what I was going to do. I was very focused on getting the timing right, so I was just biding my time. And of course, Carol fell apart first again. The second one was the elephants that were joined at the trunk. The monkey came out and danced the meringue. I just, it's actually my finest work, I think.
That's the scheme you played for revenge.
Hi, I actually want to follow up on that. You worked on Carol and Mama's Family with some of the most insanely funny people of your generation. And it's obvious when you watch them that they are trying to be as funny as possible on a day-to-day basis. How tough was it to actually do the job without being, without having everybody rolling on the floor laughing?
Oh, we had such a good time. We really did. I mean, Carol does not believe that it should be. She calls it playing in the sandbox, and it should be as fun as you all think it is. That we get paid for playing dress up. So yeah, we had a really good time. But we would get serious. We would rehearse, and if we thought we had something funny to do, we would try rehearsal, and the writers would say, "That's really funny. Would you please do what the script says?" Yeah, we just had a good time. We really did. But we were serious on occasion.
Once a month?
Carol's the one that wanted to do those characters Southern. The writers did not write it Southern at all. They said you're going to offend the entire Southern half of the country. You have ruined our sketch, the first family sketch we ever did. And
Well, as a Yankee from New York City, thank you.
I mean, as a Southerner, thank you.
yeah, everybody loved it so much that they ended up having to write those sketches over and over. Yeah, many of them. Arguably, I would say Carol's favorite characters to do on her show. Yeah.
Thank you.
Like Mr. Conway, my name is Jim, and I just wanted to ask, how did you develop the mama character?
Well, they were beautifully written characters, and if you watch them on the Burnett Show, those pieces were often heartbreaking, tearjerkers, but they were beautifully written. So when I got a sitcom of my own, it was the writer's job, a number of whom came with me from the Burnett Show. It was their job to figure out what Mama's Family was, because it was no longer really Eunice's family. And we did 2 episodes. The original writers wrote them, and they weren't funny. I didn't think. They were way too serious. So I shut the show down and said, we have to fix this. It's not right. So I called Harvey in, and he came in and directed the first, co-directed the first season, because he said, you now need to learn to be a sitcom star. Mama needs to laugh. She needs to be silly. And I said, but I'm not sure Mama's ever even smiled. And he said to me, you know what I've taught you. Any character that you do well is a part of you. Which is my husband's nightmare. But he was really responsible for, he said, you can laugh, she can laugh. You can dance, she can dance. She is you. You are she. Go. And he was really responsible for turning her loose and making her fun, I would say. Yeah.
My recollection is that after you delivered the zinger line in the elephant story, you did have a big smile on your face. Like, yep, I did that.
I was very pleased with myself.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm 8:55. I grew up in Mama's Family in the 80s. Watched it every Saturday night, I think at 6 o'clock. Growing up was like my favorite show. And so as time went on, it went off the air. You can see things for years and years and years. Then I went back to going on certain networks. And so I wasn't able to catch all of them. So I went on eBay. This is really funny. And I wouldn't do it myself, so I was scared to do it. But I had someone who would tape every single episode on DVDs of Mama's Family and sell it as a set. Okay. But I was afraid to buy it because I thought it was illegal, so I had a friend buy it for me. Because I love the show so much. And then about 3 years ago, my kids sent me this onion, and it says, "Man with complete Mama's Family video library, vows never to go on eBay drunk again." And it has a picture of this man who bought all of the DVD, it's a joke, all of the Mama's Family DVDs, and so it's a big joke in my family. of these DVDs.
But you have no regrets.
Yeah, and it says, "Ensemble pledged to himself in the world, Kevin, your owner of a complete Mama's Family video DVD library, announced Monday that will never ever show an online auction house, eBay again, But I thought it was really funny because my kids died because I was like so scared I was going to get for buying these
Illegal.
illegally.
Did you know you had a whole like secret bootleg merch situation going on?
Anyhow, I still love it. I probably watch it at least 3 or 4 times a week. It's the best. But I want to know your favorite Mama's Family episode. Mine is the one where you sell Iola's handicrafts after she goes to the funeral. I love that one.
I always ask everybody what their favorite one is because we've had so much fun doing those. There's so many that, sometimes I don't even remember them. I was in New York doing a little commercial a few years ago, and they put me up at this beautiful hotel, and I get this beautiful breakfast in the morning with all the silverware and the crystal and everything. And Al called me, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm having my oatmeal, I'm watching Mama's Family, and damn it, we were funny." We were just silly funny, right? Which you don't see anymore. I know. You can just laugh for no good reason, which I think is why she's still so popular. Especially, I think during the pandemic, I got more fan mail than I've ever gotten. Because I think people were looking for comfort.
Yes, 100%. That's what it is, it's a comfort show for me, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Who would go off script more, Tim or Carol?
Off script? Oh, Tim. He never was on script. I didn't even know until a few years ago that he was dyslexic. So it was hard for him to read the scripts. So he wrote a lot of his own stuff. He wrote that dental sketch. He wrote Mrs. Wiggins and Mr. Tuggle, and he was responsible for a lot of that craziness.
So it was all his fault?
Yeah.
I grew up watching Carol Burnett with my family, and so it's just like this warm blanket being here with you. I want to know, when everyone else was cracking up, Tim broke everybody, but he never broke you. How?
Well, honestly, I was so young, and I honestly didn't feel that I had earned the right to play with the grown-ups in the sandbox quite yet. So I was kind of a serious student. I simply was my privilege until Mama came along, and then I felt like maybe I had earned my way a little bit, and could cause a little trouble.
Trouble is always good to us.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting? None of us ever did Saturday Night Live because, what's his face that runs the show for 900 years? Lorne Michaels. Did not think we were being professional. Didn't like all the way. And so he didn't have any of us on because he didn't feel that we were really being true to the scripts. And now they all crack up, right? They never keep a straight
And
face.
those are the audience favorite moments.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
So first, love from my mother, who was a big fan, Vicki. Second, understanding that there's more to the world than the awful sketch. Was there any consequence or aftermath after that?
Well, it didn't go on the air that way. But no, I don't just think so. It just became everybody's favorite outtake. Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say hi and I love you. I can't talk and not use my hands. Thank you for just so many years of amazing funny and humorous, and you touched our lives. Like, I remember watching with my parents, and we all would laugh when we go to Grandma's house, and we'd have all these generations all laughing. And so, really, thank you for these years of funny. Like, do you have just like a favorite moment that you had, or just one that Tim Conway did that you just were like, I can't do this and not crack up, because we all were just watching, just waiting for him to crack you guys, because it was so funny just to see him. I just loved Tim Conway, old man, you know. And you guys just were so fun to kind of play around him and just kind of keep straight. I don't know how you guys did that.
When he was first on the show, I think he worked mostly with Carol. But the first time that he and Harvey ever worked together, everybody went, "Oh my God, this is magic." And I mean, Tim used to say that he had custody of her.
Custody of all of us, you know.
And there was, I mean, anytime we were standing around in the rehearsal hall waiting for anybody, if Tim would show up in the elevator and the doors would open and he'd have some stupid little face on, Harvey would go down to the hill. One of my favorite Tim Conway stories, because he was like that in real life. He was a gymnast in college, actually. His dream job, he thought, was to be a jockey, a thoroughbred race, yeah, a jockey. But he was a little bit too heavy or too, I don't know what was, he didn't make it into that world. But one of my favorite stories, he's very agile, so one of my favorite stories is we flew down to Australia to open the Sydney Opera House. We were the first show in there ever, and it was just so fun. But if you've ever done that, you know that it's a long trip. Back in the day, I don't know what they do now, but back in the day, they would give you sleep masks, you know, so you could drool in private, I guess. I don't know. And you just try to, it's a long trip. So when we finally landed there, we hit the runway, and they threw on the brakes, and here comes Tim down, rolling down the aisle. He's crashing into this side, crashing into that side. He's like, yikes! Whoa! We're all just sitting there laughing, and he slams against the pilot's door. He's got the flight attendants are sitting there going, oh my God! He slams against the pilot's door. He stands up as the plane kind of slows down. He turns around, he's got a sleep mask on like a bra. And as we come to a halt, he looks at all this and says, wow, rough landing, and walks back to his He was crazy.
I just missed that era and that humor, and it just was so funny. Like, it was so, I don't know, heartfelt but funny.
Yeah, it really was the good old days.
And I miss those days. Like,
yeah.
So thank you for being a part of all of our lives. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, my name is Matt. My question for the show is, do you remember that one skit where the old man falls down the stairs very slowly? Because my mom remembers that.
Yes. He could fall up the stairs in so much. Do you remember the sketch where he was the butler and he got on the doorknob trying to open and it was the day that he had a mastectomy to boot. So I'm really not sure how the hell he did that. I know.
Yeah, sure. And also that theme song, is one I remember a lot with the animated Carol.
Yes, that was a great song. Yeah.
Thanks for letting me ask the question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I just first of all want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for everybody, not only in this room, but for the whole world. You are a legend. My question now is from the comedic side. I was wondering, I want to get into stand-up comedian, and so does a lot of people. Do you have any advice for people that are looking to get into comedy?
You know, what happened to me is so unusual, and it launched my career, so I never had to go through what most young people have to go through to get into the business. So I've kind of picked my agent's brain a little bit. I said, what do I tell people? And he said, perform as much as you can. You have to go to open mic nights. You have to get up there. You have to really hone a great 5 minutes. and do as much of that as you can, so that people see you, because when you're beginning, you're not going to get an agent. So your job is to be seen. Carol is actually developing a show right now for Apple TV, all about her beginnings in show business, where she went to New York with $2,000 that was given to her by an admirer, and she stayed at a little, it was like a girls' boarding house, kind of, where young actresses could live while they were trying to get into the business. And she said that they all got together at one point and put like a little variety show together. A bunch of skits, and they invited every agent in the city, and I guess a lot of them showed up. And that was the way they got seen. So I would say be creative.
Yeah, that speaks a lot to like the importance of community as well.
For sure.
Either way, thank you so much for everything you do, and thank you for being such a great role model.
Okay, thank you. 5 minutes of funny stuff.
Pull down. You got it. You're a pro.
So I really wasn't planning to come to FanX this year. I saw you this year.
Oh, thank you.
We had one channel. I lived in Africa.
Oh my gosh.
Every Saturday night was the Carol Burnett Show. And so I grew up, my best friend was Carol Burnett, and I used to call her Carol Burnett because she was crazy. You make hard fast fun when you're in military brat.
Wow, where were you?
Libya.
Wow.
Africa.
And how long were you there?
3.5 years before my mother.
Wow.
That's a long time when you're a kid too.
Yeah. Anyways, but it was like I'd be out running around and playing, and it's like the sun going, gotta go watch the show. One time a day, you could watch it, and the bass used to play repeats. I thought I invented a VCR, and I would turn over the TV, and I'd run outside, and I'd come back and my question is, did you like playing the younger sister or Carol's mom?
Oh, I like to play a lot of fun old ladies on her show, really, because people ask me all the time, how did you play an old lady when you were so young? Because I was 24 years old the first time I played. They actually wrote that character for Carol, and they were to find a guest star for Eunice. But Carol said, I don't want to be Mama, I would like to play Eunice. And she went to Bob Mack, she said, don't you think we could make Vicky Mama? And he said, oh yeah, because we had done pretty old ladies by then, because if Carol was Shirley Temple, I was the pretty old school teacher. She was Cinderella, I was the Wicked Witch. So I played a lot of old ladies. I don't know what your question is.
What was your favorite? You played
Mama is so fun. You get to hide behind her and say whatever the hell you want.
Coming down the stairwell, but I always loved you as the manager.
Oh, yeah, Prissy. I was Prissy. I like Prissy. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great sketch.
Thank you for coming.
The Gone with the Wind sketch, and I saw somebody on there that's...
Yeah, there's somebody in the curtain that's right here. Amazing.
I saw that little, and then I saw the friend, oh, yeah. So that's really famous because she went in for a wardrobe fitting, and it said in the script that she comes down dressed in something made with grapes. And Bob Mackey said, I have something to show you. And he had a mannequin in one of the dressing rooms, and he pulled the curtains back, and he had that outfit on the mannequin. Carol said, I peed in my pants. I dropped it. She said, I said, it's going to be the funniest damn thing that has ever been on the show. That sketch was written by two young ushers that worked at NBC. We were at CBS. And they sent that sketch over to her husband, who was the executive producer, and said we would give our right arm for you to look at this, and because we really want to be writers. And he, of course, said this is brilliant, will you come and be on our staff? And it was Rick Hawkins, Liz Sage, they were very young, and Rick became the executive producer on Mama's Family because he's very Southern and really knew how to write those characters.
Amazing. That's amazing. Hi. So my parents and I, one of our favorite songs ever is the Lights Went Up in Georgia.
Yes.
And I've always wondered, what was your inspiration for writing that song?
I didn't write it. My first husband did. We were married for 10 minutes. Seriously. Yeah, it was very embarrassing. But he wrote that song. His name is Bobby Russell. He wrote Little Green Apples. He wrote, I don't know, he wrote a couple of other good songs. But anyway, he wrote that and hated it. And he was doing all his demos one night in the studio, and we got ready to pack up, and I said, wait, what about Georgia? And he said, I hate that song. And I said, that song is a smash. He said, well, if you like it so much, why don't you do the demo? And he laughed. And we did the demo with one little musician. We took it back out to Hollywood to his producer, who said, I think this is a good song. He tried to send it to everybody. He wanted to work with Liza Minnelli. He said, I'm going to send it to her. I said, Liza Minnelli is not right for this song. Because now I'm like convinced that this thing is a big hit. He ended up sending it over to Cher, and Sonny is the one that heard it, and he said, Cher won't do this, it's offensive. She will not do it unless it's completely rewritten. And Bob said, I don't like it to begin with, I'm not going to rewrite it. So, and I love that Cher is going to turn this down. She did Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. What was the one of the half-breed?
Yeah, that is a weird.
This is offensive. Anyway, he finally just threw up his hands and says, let's just go in the studio and do it with Vicky. He had a brand new record deal with Bell Records, which was a brand new label. He said, this is going to be the first thing I send them. And I lobbied very long and hard for the guy that arranged it, because he had Feelin' All Right on the charts at the time. I loved his arranging. And he was really responsible for giving that whole spooky minor sound to it. First time the orchestra played it, I said, what? He said, it is the same melody, go ahead, it's just the chords are a little more minor. So I think it was really a good collaborative effort. I knew it was a hit. So when it became a hit, and everybody wanted to talk to me about it, Bobby got a little bit jealous. Well, not a little bit. And we got a divorce. I got a wall record, I got the dog, and I got a divorce.
So I know that Carol Burnett once said that Jimmy Stewart was her dream guest. Did you have any dream guests that you could lobby for?
You know, I wasn't allowed to really lobby for anybody, but they surprised her with Jimmy Stewart on the last show. And gosh, I loved more the musical guests when I was young. My song was Ode to Billy Joe. And I knew that song by heart. And when Bobby Gentry was on the show, I went nuts. You probably don't even remember Bobby Gentry. Where is Bobby Gentry? I don't know either. But anyway, she was beautiful. She was very southern. She played that little guitar. And she got booked on the show, and I was so excited. She was late the first rehearsal day. And finally, the producers said, we need to call down and see if what's going on. So they called down the front gate, and they said to the guard, has Bobby Gentry come through yet at all? And the guard said, haven't seen him. So the guard didn't even know who she was. But I loved her. I loved when the Jackson 5 was on. I kind of lived for the musical guests. But pretty incredible that I got to sing with Ella Fitzgerald. Yeah. Pearl Bailey and Mama Cass. Incredible. Just incredible people I got to meet.
so much for spending time here. I am a big fan of the nostalgia, but you've been a working actor till like last week probably. And you worked with some amazing other female comedians, Roseanne, Mayim Bialik, Margaret Cho, like all of these famous comedians. Do you have any funny stories about any other like more recent female comedians? I would love to hear any funny stories about some of the other people that you worked with in the last, 30 years.
People I worked with. I feel like they've all been fun. Gosh, what a good story. Well, I know. I get to be in the second season of Palm Royale. Have you watched that yet?
Yeah, it's good.
It's silly. It's on Apple TV, you guys, and you would want to watch the first season so you understand.
Yeah, for sure. It's got some twists.
What happens in the second season. And when I was invited to, the producer of that show called Carol and said, I have a really good part that I would love to offer to Vicky in season 2. Are you okay with that? She said, am I okay? Yes, get on the phone. So it's really the first time I've gotten to work with her in years. And I was so excited because Palm Royale, if you haven't watched it, all the women are very glamorous, lots of makeup and hair, and I was so excited. You will pee in your pants when you see what they did to me.
Can't wait.
Thank you. I think it's coming out in November, so.
Fun things to look forward to.
Hi, Vicki. It's wonderful to meet you. My name is Laura. You haven't talked about my favorite show, The Cool Kids. I love that, and especially the scene when Leslie Jordan has to hit on you and try to get you to sleep with him. I love that show. I didn't know if you had any stories about Leslie Jordan specifically.
Well, he kept us all laughing during the pandemic, that's for sure. He was just, that whole cast was so, well, David Allen Groh was kind of grumpy once in a while. I loved him anyway. I miss those guys so much. But Leslie, all 4 of us, Martin Mull, David, me, and Leslie, on the breaks would sit around and tell each other crazy stories from the past. Like the time that the time that Rita Hayworth was on our show, and she's rehearsing with Carol, and she's trying to do a little bit of a dance number, and I was just standing against the wall watching them rehearse, and she came over to me after the number, and she grabbed me by the shoulder. She said, I don't know how you guys do this in 1 week. And I said, but Miss Hayward, you ran up and down the stairs with Fred Astaire. She said, we had a long time to learn that. Or Sammy Davis Jr., when he was on the show, he said, I want everybody to come down to the stage after run-through. We had a run-through on Wednesdays. We taped on Fridays. We had like a 3 p.m. run-through. And he said, after the run-through, I want everybody to come down to the stage. He had his entire orchestra there, and he did his whole show for us. It was incredible. So many stories. Everybody had so many stories. And Leslie had a crazy life before he turned into Leslie Jordan. Like crazy. He would tell those stories and we would just go, oh, God.
He was a wild child.
Yeah, he was a very wild child. Yeah.
Vicki, it's very nice meeting you. So I was going to ask you about Cool Kids as well. So I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit. The things that happened on the Carol Burnett Show are infamous at this point. But I'm wondering if there were, because you had all these great people around you with the Cool Kids, Leslie Jordan, Martin Mull, Peter Allen, who was being grumpy, I guess. But
he's adorable.
But I'm wondering if you had moments in filming where things just got out of control. I mean, I could see that with that kind of cast.
Well, no, usually when we were off camera or waiting or on a break, because Charlie Day was our executive producer, and Charlie wanted to hear his script. So we didn't mess around with the scripts. Most writers are that way. Most writers want to hear what they wrote. So, but we just had fun when the cameras weren't rolling.
Well, thank you.
But they are all great. I miss them so much. When I got that show, I was the first person cast, And they said, we're having trouble casting a couple of the guys. We've gotten a hold of really great actors, but they don't want to do it because we're going to do it in front of a live audience. And it's amazing how many actors say, I can't. But that's how I grew up, so, you know, you guys are our friends. And it's so fun to get that, you know, immediate feedback. Yeah, so. And when it went, I said, I'm so sorry that it's on Fox. Just wish to God it was ABC, but it's on Fox. So Fox canceled us and put on wrestling. Yeah.
But what you have been blessed with great ensemble.
Yeah.
That's like amazing.
Hi, I'm Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
I don't do people. I do little things, but I don't do my big breath. That's kind of.
You're doing great.
So my parents introduced me to Carol Burnett Show on MeTV. I was impressed when they took it off for a short amount of time. But as the stomach turns, and one of my favorite skits, question: how many children did you end up having that Carol just kind of pushed away?
I've never counted. It was almost every time we did it, huh? Yeah, a lot of kids. She threw them in the umbrella thing, right?
They both came in a George.
Oh, was it George?
Thank you so much. Hi.
My name is Pepper. My question is, how is it working on the murder she wrote episode? And did you secretly want to be the murderer?
Oh, well, no, I've been murder on a couple of occasions. Murder She Wrote, I was just really cool to be around Angela Lansbury because she was a legend. And she was very serious. She knew all my lines perfectly. She never screwed up. And 5 o'clock would come and she'd say, good night, everyone. She was very, strict with her schedule and strict with the script. So,
Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you a couple of additional things. One, it's been mentioned, that you are still acting all the time. You do a show where you sing, and you also do part of it as well sometimes. What is it that drives you to keep performing? Because you could retire now if you wanted and hang out and live a quiet life, but you keep going in a way that's really beautiful and feels incredibly genuine. What is it that makes you keep wanting to do it over and over?
What would I do when I retired?
Hug the dog. She's a very cute dog. If you're not following her on Instagram, get on it. It's the most joyous Instagram.
Which one? I get you right now.
You have a little white one that is so cute that hurts my heart.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying which Instagram. I'm like, I don't know your private secret Instagram. Her Instagram is beautiful because you balance your work life with a very fulfilling, it seems, family life. You're close to your kids. You share your pets. You shared a beautiful video of a butterfly coming out of the screen. It was, and I love it. Beautiful. It's like a social media dopamine hit. It's her Instagram. Hi.
I just wanted to ask, so as kids growing up, I don't know if other 40-year-olds in this room have the same feeling, but I grew up watching you in syndication on the days that we stayed home from school. And mom and dad were just not around because we were all latchkey kids, right? So I have a question for you. What do you like to watch on your days that you're home and you're just not feeling well or whatever? What do you binge watch?
I don't know that I watch any network television anymore. I'm so into the screen.
Nobody does, it's okay.
I just stream stuff like that. Favorites. Let's see. Who are you all streaming as opposed to the networks? I watch, Outlander. I am so in love with it.
That's a hard one to know.
That's very hard. Let's see, what else? Warrior. what's the one, gosh darn it, Ozark. Love it. I love all violence stuff.
That's nothing about your personality, right?
I don't know if it's just the state of the country or but my breath, it can't be too violent for me.
It's definitely all the true crime shows too, right?
No, I don't.